Greetings. I'm here today to spend a few minutes talking about pre-authorized giving. Over the first months of the year, we had a number of issues with the program, and various individuals and churches expressed concerns. In April, we held a session that fully explored where we are, what's going on, and why some of these things have happened. If you want to follow through that detail, I encourage you on the website to find the video from that April session. But in short, the pre-authorized giving program gives donors the opportunity to support their church in a planned, structured, and regular way. It gives the church the opportunity to be able to have a reliable and predictable cash flow. So it really works for everyone. In 2002, it was fairly complex to be able to set these programs up, and the diocese went ahead and invested in the program, the tools, and the processes to be able to make it go. It started small. Today, the program has gotten much larger. Today, we have about $125,000 a month that flows through the PAG program, and that represents donations from about 1,200 individual donors. So that's a fair-sized program. And unfortunately, the tools and some of the processes hadn't changed in order to keep up with and to be efficient in today's space. So what we're doing now is making changes to be able to make sure that the system is more reliable and that it works for the churches and with the churches. So let me spend a minute just talking about what we discovered as we did some analysis. The first was that the tools we were using, the service that we were using to support the actual withdrawals was somewhat dated. And it created the opportunity for both timing problems, where things didn't happen when it was expected to happen. Sometimes it wasn't reliable in terms of a batch being processed, and so you wouldn't see them come out. Finally, it gave us issues in terms of reporting, because the church needs to know what money is there, who it's come from, and to ensure that there's linkages there for receipts. So we have gone away, and after looking at various providers, we are changing the provider that does the work for us. That's going to mean that in the month of July, we will change from our old provider to our new one, which is through BMO. The costs remain basically the same in terms of the fees that Bank of Montreal will charge for doing the actual charge to a credit card or withdrawal from a bank account. Those charges remain the same, with some minor differences that net out. At the same time, the authorizations that you have given for the diocese to remove funds or charge to your card remains in place, regardless of who the provider is, because it's there authorizing the diocese to do so. So there's no action required for the donors. There's no action required for the parish. What the donors will see is exactly what they saw before, hopefully now in a more reliable and predictable way. So the dates will remain the same for withdrawals, and you'll still see Anglican Church or Anglican Diocese as what is charged on your card or from your bank account. So for the donors, there's no change. There'll be a slight change in the reporting that the parish will see. Same information, but it will be a little bit laid out differently. That will happen for the July PAG transactions, July the 25th, and those will be processed and pushed through in the normal way from a parish and a donor perspective. As I've mentioned before, this is a voluntary program. So no church is required to have a PAG program, neither is the church required to use the diocesan one. We have one church that's decided to go their own way and withdraw from the program, and we fully support that. We've assisted with the migration. If other churches decide they want to pursue a separate option, that's fine. Again, we will assist. But unless a church advises us, by the 18th of the month, everybody will continue to be processed as per the way it has always been. That was one of the key areas we identified, was around the service itself. The other areas that we identified were around process and around some of the forms that we use. So over the next couple of months, we will be updating processes. One of them is to ensure that from the donor perspective, the relationship is with the parish. Donors are giving money to their church. The diocese is happening to assist with that, but the money is being given to their church. So part of what we want to do is ensure that that relationship stays tight. We want to ensure the communication goes through the church. So one of the steps we will be taking is each church, each congregation will be asked to identify a PAG coordinator. And that person will be the interface back into the accounting department here in the diocesan office. That person will be the person that the individuals who either want to start a PAG, modify, or end a PAG, they would work with that person in the parish, complete the necessary forms, and that coordinator would feed things into us. So it puts the relationship where it belongs, which is in the church, and it also provides at the diocesan office a single point of contact in each church. So it eliminates the possibilities for errors being made and for miscommunications to happen. Within the process, we'll be updating forms to ensure that we are fully tight in terms of being able to know what is intended and what happens, and have documented space through in terms of understanding if anything happens or if anyone has a question, there is an audited trail through. So we'll be making those changes over the next couple of months as well. Once those changes are done and ready, in September, we will be doing training sessions for the PAG coordinators as those people are identified. Training them on the process, training them on the forms, training them on the tools and how it will work. At that point, each church can then identify and advertise, if you've got PAG changes, you should contact that parish person. We believe that with the change in provider, with the change in the tools and the forms, and the change in the process, and with this key role of the parish coordinator, we believe that this will greatly improve the reliability of the system, and it will improve the ability for parishes to be able to respond to what their donors are looking for. And of course, we will continue to monitor how this works. We will continue to consult and follow through with churches and with individual donors where there's ever any issues. This is a service that the diocese provides without adding any costs or fees. This is part of your CMM at work. We want to make sure that the service works for our churches and works for our donors, and that within the context of the stewardship, that each is able to take their role and bring what they are called to be and called to do. I hope that gives you a short view of what's going to happen. As I mentioned, we will change systems in July. Donors, you should not see any change. There's no need to be concerned, other than the change that hopefully will be 100% reliable. From a church perspective, you will see a slight change in reporting, and we will send that out with the new report when it comes out the first part of August. You'll see an update just to describe the changes. You will be asked over July and August to start identifying a coordinator role, and then in September we will start to do training. So I hope in the last 9 minutes I've been able to give you that quick overview. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me, Pierson at ontario.anglican.ca, or 613-544-4718. Thank you and have a great day.